An entertaining week one set a high bar for Major League Soccer in 2022, but week two took it up a notch. An MLS record attendance was set for Charlotte FC's inaugural home opener, and the visitors for the big occasion, the league's most decorated club, the LA Galaxy. It's in the Queen City where we begin our review.
A crowd of almost 75,000 at Bank of America Stadium, a thunderous sound that the Galaxy did their best to silence. Victor Vasquez with the first hint that Miguel Ramirez and co would need all the help they could get. Charlotte FC's goalkeeper Christian Carlina in particular seemed to be inspired, keeping out Chicharito and keeping the volume turned up high. But the Galaxy pressure was as relentless as the noise was loud. Raheem Edwards the next to go close, Carlina improvising to keep it goalless at half-time. Greg Vanney's Galaxy with 15 shots to Charlotte's 1 in that first 45, but nothing to show for it. The game would enter the final 15 minutes with the scores still level. Christian Fuchs tried to seize the moment for the home team. Ben Bender hitting the post as cries for a penalty went unheard. No wonder in such an extraordinary atmosphere, but the party balloon was about to be popped.
Alvarez trying his leg into goal! Efrain Alvarez with an absolute stunner to silence the biggest crowd in MLS history.
A special moment, just not the one that record number had hoped to see.
Next, two teams who have previous.
This is a new challenge. Here you see a competitive culture, a winning culture.
And it's saved by Ochoa! RSL has knocked Seattle out of the playoffs!
I enjoy being the villain, and I don't think I'll ever stop.
I did what I had to do at RSL. Now I'm on the same side as the Sounders.
"43 minutes into the game at Rio Tinto Stadium, it was halted due to a severe weather warning. Play resumed 2 hours later, and that's where we join the action with Sam Parkin and Richard Connolly.
Chang, who was busy right at the start of the game, and Chang, who stung the palms, and Wood, who hits the side netting. In this little 2-minute period between the resumption and half-time, RSL almost struck first.
The save from Fry just about turns that into a difficult follow-up. Bobby Wood just can't wrap his right foot around it. Credit the defending, actually. Bobby Wood, for me, has been probably the outstanding forward player on the pitch. Just that final bit been missing from his performance.
Chances here perhaps for RSL as it's clipped in here. Surely the opening goal, and in by Bobby Wood. Less than a minute after the second resumption, and RSL hit the front.
Arriaga's not in a particularly good position, able to make the first block, but it's a comfortable finish for Bobby Wood on the rebound, just sweeps it high into the net, left-footed, the goal that his performance deserves.
The ball for Meram, and he is going to get there. Retreating was Fry, two in the centre. Chang pulling out to a good position, that is Chang, and that's a super save from Fry. Chang's movement was excellent.
And that's a brilliant stop. He's unsighted, makes a great save, strong left hand, and pushes it out of harm's way.
Terrific run by Vargas, this. Really broken open the RSL defence. And the two 16-year-olds combining, and Baker Whiting brilliantly denied by McMath. What a hint of the future there for Seattle.
Well, you can see from his reaction he feels he scored. He's angled it nicely towards the far post.
Montero. Yeah, that's a terrific strike. Came firing in from Montero, who really hit that well.
Starting to tot up now the opportunities from range. Equal to it, down to his left once more.
The snow comes driving in, and driving forward is Pablo Ruiz, and he's got two to his left, and Cordova might finish this off here, and the ricochet, and Ruiz just wide. They might not need the insurance, but Ruiz could not force it home.
Great anticipation in the middle of the pitch, and must have just been stretching. Couldn't turn that rebound into the unguarded net.
Forward by the debutant Reagan, but away again by this resolute RSL defence. And they've done it again to Seattle in dreadful conditions after a 2-hour weather delay. The final score at Rio Tinto, as the snow closes in, Real Salt Lake 1, Seattle Sounders 0.
All the struggles that we've had in preseason has really fortified the group. And, you know, I think tonight was a fantastic performance of mentality, but also some great stuff. I thought we created some great chances. And again, building off that, like we talked about before the game, is we want to take Houston and build from that from an attacking perspective. In a week's time, I think we've gained a lot.
The Colorado Rapids were the only team that finished above Seattle in the West in 2021. And just like the Sounders, they were also beaten on the opening weekend. So this was about setting standards again. Diego Rubio with their first goal of the new season. And the Chilean was central to inflicting more damage on Atlanta United's defence just 3 minutes into the second half at Dick's Sporting Goods Park.
It's a decent ball, and it's a decent strike, and it's a decent goal from Jonathan Lewis. What a delivery from Diego Rubio.
The Five Stripes were missing several players that make them tick, but still had their moments. George Campbell's header was flicked over by William Yarborough. And the goalkeeper then denied Joseph Martinez, who was chief creator in Atlanta's impressive 3-1 win over SKC last week. But protecting that 2-0 lead became a far more straightforward task for the Rapids when Miles Robinson clumsily floored Rubio. Having already been booked, the US international was off, and Colorado capitalised. Their third goal, though, was one that even a team with a full quota of players would have found difficult to prevent. Andre Shinyashiki finished off the devastatingly swift move. Another 3-0 scoreline for the Rapids, though this one far more palatable.
LAFC had beaten the Rapids in week 1, but their hopes of starting with consecutive home wins were soon dented by the Portland Timbers. Portland's Jimmy Chara had begun the season with an acrobatic equaliser against New England, and he continued in that spectacular vein. With that, the Timbers led at half-time, and with LAFC losing starman Carlos Vela to injury, it was only with a sending off that an intense Sunday night contest began to turn. Claudio Bravo dismissed for a second yellow with almost half an hour left to play. Yet Portland's defence remained resolute, and when it was troubled, the post helped out. Christian Arango's header gathered by Aljaz Ivacic after it had struck the woodwork. But LAFC would cast away their frustration to snatch a point in the 3rd minute of added-on time.
Rodriguez, good skill, goes across, it's a leveller. Right at the death, LAFC have got the goal, and it's Mamadou Fall.
Also in California, a buoyant Columbus, fresh from dismantling Vancouver last weekend. But they were flawed within the first 10 minutes at PayPal Park. Video review needed to clarify that Milos Deganic did land on Paul Marie's foot. And Roger Espinoza squeezed the San Jose Earthquakes in front from the spot. Technology, though, was both the Quakes' friend and foe in the first half. While late, Jamiro Montero's tackle on Darlington Nagbe wasn't initially deemed to be dangerous. But the replays indicated otherwise. A change in colour of card and the direction of the game. The crew were level before half-time as Lucas Zelarayan added yet another to his glittering collection of MLS goals. He scored on the opening weekend too. And it was he who provided the corner after half-time that eventually led to Jazi Zardes's sharp finish. Now very much in cruise control. Zelarayan quickly served up more magic to make it 3-1. The Armenian international's brilliance from set pieces, very much a trademark move. But if San Jose are the masters of anything themselves, it's plot twists. With 6 minutes to go, Francisco Calvo scored his first goal for the club, and then deep in stoppage time,
Gregush, headed down, you bet! Goal, San Jose!
Calvo got the memo. They only deal in late drama around these parts.
Nashville had opened their campaign with victory in Seattle, and they hit the front away to Minnesota with a goal from CJ Sapong after just 4 minutes.
It's a sensational start for Nashville SC!
It was lightning fast, and in an entertaining first half, the action ebbed and flowed. Nashville could have gone 2 up through Randall Leal, but Adrian Heath's side hit the post before the interval too. Bakai Dibassi's pure strike lifting the mood at Allianz Field, and an equaliser would come after the teams turned round.
What can Minnesota conjure here? Reynoso and Amarilla deflected it in! Hassani Dodson!
A goal fair reward on the balance of play, but perhaps the lively Hani Mukhtar deserved better late on. A clip on his heels going unpunished. Nashville and Minnesota both still unbeaten after a 1-1 draw.
There was just one shot on goal in the first half between Sporting Kansas City and the Houston Dynamo, so we'll skip to the good part. Remy Voltaire ended an hour-long wait for some quality in front of goal. Darwin Quintero almost provided a truly memorable finish after Tim Melia's donation to Houston's need for a first goal under Paulo Nagamura. Steve Clark was sharp to keep out Daniel Chaloui late on, but SKC have points on the board, though Peter Vermees will surely expect more convincing performances are to come.
Inter Miami knocked on the door in week 1.
Kisses the crossbar. Chance after chance for Miami.
Austin FC smashed the door down.
Oh, it's a miscue! Goal! The breakthrough! It gets better and better for Austin FC.
Stuart Robson and Chris Wise are your commentators.
There's a Ruti. Nicely laid off for Fagundes. Bobbled on the surface not once but twice. But the final touch is a decent one from Drouisi. Squeezed in beyond Diop. And free scoring Austin off and running again against Inter Miami.
Good bit of play by Austin FC. Here's the ball round the corner. Fagundes, you talked about that little bobble. It was a bobble, but he arrives at the right time. Drouisi uses the inside of his right foot, and it's a good finish. What good play it is from Fagundes.
Pereira. Drouisi is the one who is down. The referee, I think, was waiting to see whether there was some advantage. There isn't. Indeed, he's got his yellow card out as well and is going to book Jean Motta, the Brazilian.
Thinks he can win the ball here. It's a late challenge. I don't think it was a dangerous one, but it's a silly challenge.
And the free kick, which was deceptive from Fagundes. This is Kolmanic, and there's a free man in the middle. It's 2-0. Cascante was waiting to see if it was a legitimate goal. He couldn't believe the room he had. Austin delivering again. What a fast start this is. They're 2-0 up.
Half the team start to come up from Inter Miami and then go back in. Brekshay's playing him onside. It's a good goal, an excellent goal from Austin's point of view.
It's poor from McVeigh, and this is a Ruti, and it could be 3. Dominguez was waiting. Oh, yes. Drouisi with the finish. Pretty acrobatic one in the end as well from Sebastian Drouisi.
This is where they win the ball back. Drisi's the player that makes the interception. Urruti plays the ball wide. Fagundes doesn't quite pick out the right pass, but there's the outside of the boot. Brilliant finish from a player that I think's had a really good game so far. He keeps it low enough and under the bar.
He's a real talent, Sebastian Drisi. There is no doubt about that. Here's Higuain and Campana. Oh, they've got one back immediately. Leonardo Campana with his first Inter Miami goal.
Well, it's, I think, Ring that gives the ball away here. Not a great attempt to play it forward. Ring passes it straight to Higuain, outside of his right boot, into the pass of Campana. And that's a good finish with his left foot. Well, there has been a turnaround in this second half. It was the first half possession.
Here's Drisi, he's on a hat-trick. Now Alex Ring, chipping it in, and a delicate touch from Finley, if there was one at all. Alex Ring is the one who certainly thinks that it's his goal.
Here's Ring, plays the ball round the corner, gets it back here. Now, look at the offside. Well, he's certainly not offside there. The only player that's offside is Fagundes, and he doesn't really get involved. Now, oh, there's the question mark. Does Urruti get a touch on it? If he does, then Finley's offside. No, the goal's been given. Urruti didn't get a touch on it.
Fagundes, away from Acosta. Still going as well, Fagundes. And Finley, oh yes, that's a terrific finish. And for the second week running, Austin FC have 5.
Fagundes goes past one challenge, goes past the next one, and Finley chooses the right option, smashes it hard. Absolutely brilliant.
Austin's day, they've won it by 5 goals to 1.
We're extremely pleased by the results. It's 2 home games, 2 wins. For me, again, it's a learning process. Last year we learned a lot. We learned a lot about our group. I learned a lot about myself. We got to keep getting better and improving. It's a performance to build on.
FC Cincinnati had also conceded 5 to Austin in week 1, and they almost fell behind quickly to DC United. Griffin Yao's shot superbly cleared by Tyler Blackett after Brad Smith had also been denied. Having survived the early shock, a goal would have been just the tonic for the orange and blue. But the offside flag denied Brandon Vasquez, and replays would only confirm the accuracy of the call. How Cincinnati's Pat Noonan must have yearned for a break in his first home game in charge. With 10 minutes of the 90 to go, a glimmer of hope arrived. The first yellow card of the game for DC United's Moses Nyman, upgraded to red on review. But the extra man brought no obvious advantage, and a second review would prove more critical to the outcome. Handball was the shout from DC's Ola Kamara, and the video evidence proved damning for Jeff Cameron and Cincinnati.
Kamara in stoppage time from the spot, slots it past Alec Can. 1-0 DC.
Even deeper in added time, Cameron made a desperate effort to make amends. But it's 2 defeats from 2 for Cincinnati.
It was with DC where Bruce Arena began his MLS coaching career, and this was a day where history beckoned for the man now with the Revs. More on that in a moment, as it was FC Dallas who threatened first via Marco Farfan. But just before half-time, the game had its pivotal moment. Carlos Hill was sent spiralling by Paxton Pomykal inside the penalty area. The referee initially declined to give the foul, but video review showed a different picture.
Hill's run up, and he sticks it! 1-0!
Hill could have had an assist or another goal to his name in the final 16 minutes. Gustavo Bo's shot fell invitingly his way. This was MLS game number 2 for Nico Estevez of FC Dallas, but win number 241 for Bruce Arena in the regular season. He's now got more victories than any other coach in MLS history. Only Abo was missing on the big day.
They'd drawn in Dallas on the opening weekend, but Toronto FC's first home game of the season got away from them quickly. Lewis Morgan's first goal for the New York Red Bulls, a finish of some authority. Playing in a more advanced position than he had with Inter Miami, Morgan's confidence was clearly booming.
Now it comes across to Morgan, he's done it again! The Red Bulls double their lead!
The Red Bulls had invested heavily in Morgan in the off-season, and Toronto had hoped to strengthen their forward line too, recruiting Jesus Jimenez. The new number 9 reduced the deficit with his first MLS goal. The sense of excitement in what was becoming a wild first half was palpable, but Toronto were overcommitting. And when Patrick Klimala rolled the last defender, the Red Bulls and Morgan were in again.
It's Lewis Morgan on goal for a hat-trick, and he's got it! Lewis Morgan restores the Red Bulls' 2-goal advantage.
An outstanding first half for the Red Bulls wasn't done yet, as Aaron Long made it 4-1 from the set play. The variety of the New York attack, well worth noting. And though Klimala narrowly failed to make it 5-1 after half-time, the Red Bulls have started the season with real intent. 2 wins on the road to start the campaign for the very first time.
Toronto's Canadian rivals CF Montreal were also at home, but not at their regular abode. Stade Olympique the setting, and Lassi Lapalainen the opening scorer, albeit with one of the more bizarre deflected goals you'll see this week. The Philadelphia Union then opened the gates up to allow Georgi Mihailovic to power through early in the second half. His finish matched the strength of his run, but video review also noted his extreme physicality in the build-up and disallowed the goal. The reprieve snapped Jim Curtin's team out of their slumber. Barely 3 minutes later, some messy Montreal defending was seized upon by Alejandro Bedoya. This was the 3rd time he'd scored against them in 4 seasons. And last year's Eastern Conference finalists then exhibited some class to go ahead shortly after. Daniel Gazdag with the incisive touch and finish, the same goal-scoring qualities he was showing at the end of last year. There is a sense that Montreal are heading the right way under Wilfried Nancy, but it's a project that is going to take time. Andre Blake had full sight of Lapalainen's latest attempt, and Montreal were unable to avoid a second successive defeat at the start of 2022. A second yellow card for the Union's Julian Carranza should have given the hosts the momentum they needed, especially as they still had 20 minutes to wriggle out of a troublesome situation. But a lack of goals could prove to be a problem for Montreal this season, while Philadelphia have their first win.
The reigning MLS Cup champions were also in Canada. New York City FC creating a host of chances at Vancouver. Alexander Callan's missing this one. For Ronnie Dyler's side, it was a second long trip west after the narrow defeat to the LA Galaxy. Again, the interplay was better than the finishing. Melda Amundsen guilty this time. Vancouver's high spot in a goalless draw, the form of goalkeeper Thomas Hassal, a superb save from Thiago Andrade. NYCFC glad to be heading home.
To our final game, and 2 teams who were busy in the off-season reassembling their attacking talents. Though this wasn't a good advert for Chicago or Orlando's work. A Lions midfielder had a brief roar of excitement, but Junior Urso's deflected goal was ruled out for Ercan Kara's cradling of the ball when trying to control it. Brian Gutierrez could have won it in stoppage time for the Fire, who are yet to score this season. The good news, though, is that they haven't conceded yet either.
Chicago and Orlando, then 2 of 3 teams in the Eastern Conference to shut out the opposition in each of their first 2 games. DC are the other, and they sit second, just behind the New York Red Bulls, who lead on goal difference.
It's a surprise to see Seattle at the bottom of the West, and they're the only team in the conference yet to register a point. Austin topped the table, and with 10 goals, they've set a new MLS record for the most scored after 2 games.
And it's with the 4 teams boasting 100% records that we leave you.
It's Lewis Morgan on goal for a hat-trick, and he's got it. Finlay, they've got 5.
Alvarez trying his luck at the goal! Efrain Alvarez with an absolute stunner to silence the biggest crowd in MLS history.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.